After many people asking for it in the comments, I'm going to do it. It began 1985 years ago when the kingdom of Lida was born and the 9 tribes expanded, until they ran into the nation of Marley, which defended and seized the quadruped titan and enslaved the Finger tribe. With this they invaded other tribes and with it they won the Titan Beast, Colossal, Female, Armor, Attacker and the Titan Warhammer. Instead of dying he allied with Marley and with that he won all the powers except the Titan Jaw and the Progenitor. The Jaw was hidden and even so they managed to conquer the tribe, but they did not have the Titan and as for King Karl Fritz instead of allowing himself to be caught as easily as the other kings he moves with his family to a peninsula colony of him since the Paradise Island the colony became the metropolis and in that way erased the memory of all the inhabitants except for a few who did not know it. He could erase the Jaw from generation to generation until he arrived with Greater C who was sent to the walls and in the year 845 Marley sent 4 of his warriors for the Titan Progenitor Bertoldo, the Colossal Titan to destroy the first gate, Reiner the Titan Armor, for the second Dorani the Female Titan to call Titans and as the transport and the leader Marcel. So when they reach the walls a strange titan comes out, but as unlike the original style Reiner would not be confused by because there was no fight with Marcel and he would be attentive and they would manage to kill him before he eats Marcel. So it was time to go to the walls that turns into Titan and goes towards the walls. They arrive at the walls at this moment in which the research body was going to leave so when they transform into a Titan they see it then the Colossal Titan he kicks by blowing rocks and wind, climbs to the top of the wall with the other warriors and they observe the massacre. Reiner cools down so that he destroys the wall meanwhile Kate Shedis who is observing the massacre says it cannot be Carla. He goes to look for Carla then he arrives when he sees that Grisha has left with his family but Grisha is already still watching a strange smiling and crying Titan who tells him. Grisha who reacts and reacts turns and runs while all that happens the Titan armor runs at full speed and destroys the wall in all this massacre and is shocked after keeping it safe. Grisha separates from his family goes secretly for the kings, steals the Titan power and then returns to his family. Then there was the reconquest of the wall. Maria put a mission in which apparently she did not return. Here in the story it happens in a similar way to the original story when in the year 847 Carla arrived she had died time because for lack of medicines Ren, Mikasa and Darwin had joined the army. There was an evacuation simulation. A drill. The situation took a turn when in the middle of a drill the Colossal Titan appeared and collapsed everything so the Titans came back as the real drill and all those who were there had to collaborate even the cadets who hardly knew how to handle the 3D team for what they were. It was devoured but then from the mouth from the Titan the Tatran blood comes out. Claw's Titan was a danger against the plans and the situation would be similar to when I sat in front of her alone. That is, I would be being eaten by the Titans until that later I save them and it happens the same as the exterior and Greater is a human or a Titan and as the Titan Jaw is a small Titan that rock is very heavy and it would take a long time to push the rock to close it so that many would die many more from the outside and then the investigation body would arrive and as in the original story there would be a trial that Levi would win, who has already been in the investigation for a few years and as the original East was, he would tell them how little who knows and they would go to Shingeki in Qinggai in China and they see a stranger who are running on all fours at full speed. Note from the author for a peek by his intelligence he deduced the place where Eren would being the center or so he stung to run at full speed until he found Ren. When he read it seemed that his movements suddenly made no sense to the forest and from the forest the female Titan leaves. The author's note for this year it has just entered the members of the Levi squad so it still they would not have the rank or the outstanding experience to be part of the squad so it can be said that Levi is only a slight so if I feel lonely Levi Ren transforms to squeeze the female Titan. Ren scratches and jumps through the trees among all the Tanny crystallized her hand and hits a tree collapsing it giving herself. Realize how strong the female Titan is to knock down a tree and so they continue to lose that he grabs me in the tumble against the ground and they tear off his arms. By then out of nowhere Mike and Levi come down and attack the female Titan. Then someone also comes down the armor Titan that he's passing. At the top of the tree Pick is watching how they fight and says very well to see everything. Now Gretel jumps, transforms into the sky and falls causing an explosion with which they could take Ren. Owen tells him that it was an explosion when it dissipates. This team sees the same quadruped Titan from a few hours ago fleeing the good order, follow him and they would follow them until they arrive with Going in which the difference of the exterior and end is not with 2 arms and 2 legs but only did not have 1 leg so similarly the original stereo arrive then they were already fully generated so saw when the Boon frees him. Eren transforms into a Titan and runs to rescue Eren. They used the same original bring list strategy to attract a bunch of Titans, so in this way they managed to lose the warriors in the middle of the road. Since while they were really pick, they could not flee without facing the Tenors Court, so they would return to the walls. Only half a body of investigation, perhaps many body of Russian would refuse. Owen Smith jailed a good trial as the story. The difference with the original story is that they sent to kidnap the story, but they find them while she was training. Remember that he has not graduated yet, and just like the original story, they would kidnap, resulting in the death of the then newly formed squad. Mike saw when they are all gathered. Rice would tell him the story of about 2 or 3 years ago. Was one day a stranger arrived who now you know his name is Grisha. I already arrived. The stranger was not yet possessed such a strong Titan, but he possessed a very skilled Titan. The day he moved from side to side he collapsed the columns, causing them to fall. Was there? He jumped on his back and tore him from his neck like the original one. That would convince me not to eat Eren by telling him that every time one of his members, his family has been obtained, the coordinate has changed personality forever, and as in the original story, Rod would become the Mega Colossal Titan. Then story would free Eren, but he becomes a Jaw Titan and begins to climb the cave. To be able to climb later they saw up slow that was the Titan of Rock Trace, so they were him unlikely outside, and final story would not be the queen, because he does not want to be the queen. And also Owen's trial was interrupted because the warriors who attacked the western district and are using its base. Once everything was cleared up, Owen comes out of his trial with a successful coup. He meets with the rest of the exploration corps and Eren, and they go to the west district. When they arrive it was apparently empty. Then the quadruped Titan appears on one side, run and leave a barrel there. Then the dreadnought comes out on the other side. There are no lightning spears with which to face the battleship, nor does Annie teach Eren martial arts. Eren only has his claws with which he scratches Reiner's eyes. Go for the quadruped, says Levi, but Owen says, wait, something strange is there in that barrel that I leave in the middle of the road. Remember the Colossal Titan and says, stay away from the barrel. On Trust's side, they cut Reiner's joints, knocking him down. Falls off. And he screams. Bertoldo turns into a Titan. The Scout Corps had gotten far enough, but he did not save them completely. Peak is turning. He picks up Bertoldo and tells him to go to the wall and evaporate. So he did. Peak takes Annie out. Annie defends Reiner, but since Annie is not completely covered, the Scouting Corps together defeat her. Eren confronts Peak, beating him. Eren comes out of his Titan and says, you're surrounded. Tired. Peak uses one last trap, an explosive in his backpack. And Peak, with the speed of him, rescues his companions and returns to Marley. Eren goes to read his father's diaries and finds out about everything. 2 years pass. Zeke and Marcel, the Beast and Attacker Titans, respectively, come to check the strength of the walls. They turn Regiko into Titans. By then Mikasa and Armin had already joined the exploration corps to be with Eren. In addition, that technological advances were allowed. They make an evacuation, and in that the exploration corps runs into the Titan ape. And they face. The ape Titan uses his Titans. They with the lightning spears defeated them relatively easily. Eren was on a Titan against Zeke, but Zeke throws rocks that destroy Ren's Titan. Levi takes advantage of the distraction to approach Zeke and knock him down. Marcel tries to confront Zeke, but he's also defeated. Zeke and Marcel are taken to an underground prison where they ask him questions. Eren reveals himself as Zeke's brother. Zeke tells him his childhood and persuades Eren. He only tells the Scouting Corps how he turns people into Titans. And he mentions that the technology has advanced too much, more than what the warrior was described 2 years ago. And up to here in this part. What will happen in the next one? Write it in the comment.